My dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big ROAS man. Then he just kept saying things like, the bigger the ROAS, the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means calculating a return on ad spend. One thing's for sure, I'll be known as the ROAS man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's the Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
It is the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Yeah, the show that inspires, it motivates entrepreneurs. And so we bring on the amazing guests like Seth Godin, you know that, Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, Amy Porterfield, John Lee Dumas, Paul Martinelli, etc., etc., etc. Don't you just love them and all the other guests that I bring on? Yeah. So welcome to another inspiring episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. I'm your host, Heneka Watkis-Porter, and today it's no different. We have another incredible guest with us to join us, and she's going to bring the good stuff, right? This podcast episode, of course, is sponsored by the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Next Step Digital Services, and 5-Minute Bookkeeper. Before we dive in, just chuck right in. Let's have a word from the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mafood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. With over 23 years of human development and organizational growth expertise, my guest is a recognized leader in empowering individuals and driving business transformation. Her journey, inspired by a family tradition of dedicated professionals, led her to pivotal roles as executive assistant, producer, and chief of Simon Sinek. Yeah, Simon, love Simon, I need Simon here, where she played a crucial part in launching best-selling books and global speaking engagements. Let's make welcome, drum roll, yay, Monique Helstrom. Welcome, Monique.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Oh, it's such an honor to have you. And listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, because most of you will hear this on audio, right? It is, in Jamaica, it is 5 p.m. I think where Monique is, it's 4 p.m. And let me tell you something, you'd have think, say, in other words, you would have thought it's like 10 a.m. or something. She's like so bright and refreshed and looking all sprucey and excited and raring and ready to go. So yes, we're going to go right in.
I love it. Thank you. I can't help it. I'm always like this.
Yeah, I mean, after working too with somebody like Simon, right? Like, I mean, yeah, you bring that on your own, I'm sure, but that environment, I'm sure, did something for you. But before even going into a little bit of that environment, let's break the ice. We've already broken the ice so many times, like long ago, but for what it's worth, If you could have dinner, Monique, with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Any historical figure that would be Maya Angelou, without a doubt. I want to suck in her energy, or I want to just be near her and listen to her and take her wisdom. She just has a way of explaining things in words that's just so beautiful. You don't know how to say them in any other way after you hear how she says them. So probably her.
Maya is just amazing for me, her life story. But my two most favorite work of hers, Phenomenal Woman and Still I Rise. Like those
Mhm.
two, chef kiss kind of, mwah. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Still I rise.
Yes, love, love, love them. I need to I need to do like a rendition of them, like really professionally done and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I love her. Yeah, love her for that.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what we mentioned in the intro, which has everybody ears perked up. Mentioned, the mention of Simon Sinek, and we're going to talk about you because that's why you're here. But we just
Thank
want
you.
a little, we want to hear a little bit about your experience working with Simon on the Simon team.
Sure. I mean, it's so hard to put the whole thing into words. It was the most exciting time of my life. It was so much fun, and just to be able to be next to someone and help him grow such an important mission, such an important movement, help as many people as he did. It was an honor. It
Yeah.
was insanity for a decade. We were on the road 220 days a year. It was very, very often 50, 60, 70-hour weeks, but I loved every second of it. Maybe not every second. Most of the seconds I loved.
Yeah, because I'm sure there were days and like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, get me out of here. I can't do anymore. Yeah. Oh, it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure overall, the net effect is that it was a great experience. I mean, living vicariously through your ears and your eyes, amazing. Goals, guess goals right there. All right, I putting it into the atmosphere. All right,
Do it.
so all right, let's talk about your own career in human development and organizational growth. So what is it that sparked your interest in that field? Because it kind of sounds boring, Monique.
It is so fascinating to me. Working as I have in my past, being an executive assistant, being in the administrative field, we know a lot of people. We talk to a lot of people. We see all the inner workings of corporates and organizations and nonprofits. And certainly working with Simon, I got to speak with leaders and military and social activists and teachers and celebrities. And you just see all of these different people. And when it comes down to it, it really comes down to a lot about communication and a lot about self-awareness. We're all humans. We have to know what we're good at. We have to know how to tell other people what we're good at. And how do we represent ourselves out into the world? How do we know what puzzle piece we hold if we don't understand ourselves? So I've sort of dedicated my life to help those who traditionally haven't been able to describe themselves to other people, and I want to help them be able to do so. So we can have equal value for all jobs, not just jobs with a C in front of them.
All right, all right. And so you are now doing your own thing in terms of empowering individuals and, just take them from point A to point B. It was Zig Ziglar who says that most people say that motivation doesn't last, neither is bathing. That's why we do it daily. And people say like, so, this motivational thing, it's kind of like it's just soft stuff. It doesn't work. Talk about that. What's your experience?
I mean, it doesn't work until it works. And if you, like anything, like exercising, you're not going to go to the gym tomorrow and have abs. As much as I want to be able to go to the gym one day and have J-Lo's body, it doesn't happen. You have to keep doing things every day and practicing. How we get our tendencies and habits is through practicing them. So how we change our tendencies and our habits is by practicing. And we just have to continue to do it. It is motivational, but I'm all about accountability. You have to be responsible for your own development. It is nobody else's responsibility to help you be the best version of yourself. You have to help you be the best version of yourself, and then surround yourself with people who love that and will help you grow.
Yeah, responsibility. And talk about responsibility. It's my responsibility to let the guys know, let you folks know that this segment, this interview segment, is brought to you by 5 Minute Bookkeeper. And I just want to share a testimonial on for 5 Minute Bookkeeper, and it comes from Kristen Carver. And Kristen Carver Smith is her name. Everyone was talking about 5 Minute Bookkeeper, and I saw the testimonials online and said, this is something I need, and I think this will take my business to the next level. My husband and I no longer argue at tax time because now everything is ready to go. Yes, so visit 5 Minute Bookkeeper at 5 Minute Bookkeeper. That's the numeral 5minutebookkeeper.com. All right, let's continue. Right, because I'm so excited. I'm excited to talk to you, Monique. I'm excited to talk about 5 Minute Bookkeeper, and because the guys who use them are just raving about them. So let's talk about, we delve a little about, into the relationship, the working relationship with Simon, and no doubt it has, inspired a career of your own, doing the things that you love to motivate others and so on. Let me ask you, on a day where somebody is not feeling like they're their best selves, like there's just not nagwan, as we say in Jamaica, on a day like that, when somebody's feeling despondent, how do you help in that shift to move them from point A to point B?
So two things. I rarely encourage people to get out of a funk sometimes, because sometimes you need to be in a funk, and we're humans, and sometimes we have bad days. And I wish I could tell you that every day I wake up and it's sunshine and roses, but come on, we all have bad days. We all have times that we, want to just crawl in bed and put the sheets over our head. And when that happens, do it. Do it for a period of time that you need to do it, and then stop. But you're the one that has to do it. So I'll tell them, and remove the shame. If you're having a bad day, if you can't concentrate one day, if you're feeling low and blue, that's okay. Figure out why, accept it. Don't shame, don't blame, but then do what you need to do to get out of it. If you want to sulk for an hour or two, fine, but then get outside, put your sneakers on, and go for a walk.
Yeah.
And then you get some sunshine on your face, and then call a friend. Like, don't not go through an emotional passage, but get out from the other side. Don't sit in one. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think what you're saying too is what a lot of people advocate for, and it sounds good, and it is toxic positivity, where you expect people to always be on a high, and the truth is life has ebbs and flows, right? But I don't want the point to be missed here that you said, Monique, that yeah, you do it for a while, for a bit, but then you have to decide, you have to make a decision to move on. And what comes to mind as I just said that is what Mel Robbins talk about all the time, which is the 5 minute rule.
I love her. I love her.
Love Mel, love her too.
Yes. P.S. I met her in person. She is as lovely as she seems.
Yes, yes. Another one of the persons I definitely want to meet and bring on this show as well. Awesome sauce. Now, that 5 minute rule, it may not be, you may not describe it as that, but what you said was typically that, whatever that, I mean, not 5 minute, 5 second, whatever that is for you, whatever that period is for you, how do you make that decision to move from that place where you are, however long your 5 second, maybe if it's not a literal 5 second, how do you make that decision to move forward?
I personally think it's when you've learned something. I always, those times where you do fall down and you're blue and you're not in the mood, and you're always learn something from the times you've fallen down. I think I've learned more from the times that I've screwed up in my life than I have from the times when everything was hunky-dory. So, sit in it until you learn what you need to learn, but you can't just sit there and wait for it to take care of you. So if you're blue, if you had a loss in the family, if there's really something heavy and emotional going on, then do what you need to do, take a bath and call a friend and hug on a dog or hug on someone who loves you. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things. But then look back at what happened and say, what did I learn? What did I learn from being in that hole? What did I learn from falling down and going boom? And then what are you going to do about it? Again, this is all about accountability and responsibility. We have to be the ones to move ourselves forward.
Yeah. And you said something, I mean, you said it very lightly, but believe me, in doing my own research, I prove it to be true, you know, theoretically and practically, where hugging a dog, hugging a baby, touching, you know, those things are healing. It releases some hormones within you, and they're healing. I can attest to that.
Absolutely. One of the things I do a lot of work with communication and how to have hard conversations and give feedback and conflict conversations and things like that. And one of the things that I always tell my executives, what they say, what should I do before I go into an annual review? Or what should I do before I go into a feedback session? Or whatever I say, you know, go outside, get some sunshine on your face, hug a dog, watch cute puppies on YouTube, you know, hold plank. I don't care. But do something, get up, hug a dog, do something that makes you feel like you're ready to go in there. Because if you're struggling to go into a conversation because of where you're at, it's not going to end well.
Yeah, let's talk about, you know, those difficult conversations. So yeah, we've already hugged the dog, we've walked, we've, you know, gone into the sunshine. Let's talk about having difficult conversations. How do we really have difficult conversations? Because if you are anything like me, you can get very hot-headed.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
How do you have those conversations in a very respectful
Sure.
and still not self-sabotaging way? Because it's all good and well to be respectful of the other party, but you also need to be respectful of your own self in terms of being able to express how you feel,
Yeah.
and being okay with expressing how you feel respectfully, right? Sure. Because there are some instances where it doesn't matter how you do things or what you say, there's still going to be a level of offense that's being caused. So how do you really have those difficult conversations? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. And trust me, you know, I'm not perfect at this either. I teach this stuff. I do coursework on this, and I mess up every now and again. You know, we're humans, we're messy. This is called practicing. That's what we do. So there's two things, let's call them non-negotiables in my estimation, as how to have a hard conversation. Number one is knowing what your motive is. If you're about to go into a hard conversation, you better know what your motive is for going in that conversation. And hopefully your motive is a positive one. If your motive is to be right, if your motive is to show someone up, if your motive is to show someone that they're wrong, the conversation is probably not going to work out the way you want it to. I would advise you just to skip that conversation, because you're not going to get what you want. But if your motive is true, you want to work better with this person, you want to continue a relationship with this person, you want to get through a hard time, you want to help someone grow in their organization, then get clear with your motive. And the question I always ask is, how would you behave if that's really what you wanted? So if my motive is to help this person be a better version of themselves by giving them feedback on something that they did, how would I behave if that's what I really wanted? And then get yourself ready to behave like that. Because again, that's what we want. And then the second piece of it is that outcome. What's in the middle between what you need, want, and what they need, want? What is the intersection? What's going to help move the conversation forward expeditiously, you know, intelligently? How can we move forward for both of you? Without those things, it's very hard to have a calm conversation.
Yeah, you know, and it does take growth, a level of growth, to not want to be right.
Sure.
I look back at my life and I think to myself, oh my gosh, Heneka. You know, when you're young, and by young I mean immature, not necessarily in chronological age order, you just feel like, you know, it's all about being right. I remember, well, me, all about wanting to be right. And listen, I have to have the last word. But thank God I've been delivered from that. But every now and again, it does rear its ugly head up. And I have to be very aware that, listen, no, it's not about being right. You know, it really is about growth.
Yeah.
And respect and love and trust and all of those things. And particularly for relationships that you value, right? And you should value everyone. But there are some relationships that are, you know, they're more valuable. Yeah. You hold them dear and closer to your heart. All right. So as we talk about dear and close, let's go right into the community connection segment. And this is a segment, of course, brought to you again by our friends at 5 Minute Bookkeeper. This is a segment where the community, you are invited to give your feedback, your review, your questions, whatever it is that you want to engage with us, right? And this feedback comes in the form of a comment on a recent podcast episode. I think it was episode 368 with Dr. Nsombi Jaja. And
I love that episode, by the way.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I listened to it twice.
So Sherrone, oh my God, Sherrone says, here's what she says about that episode. And she shared it directly with Dr. Jaja, and Dr. Jaja shared it with me. She says, hi, in some way I got a chance to completely listen to the podcast. You were great as usual. So many great nuggets. Some I have to put in my own words, and she put in quotes, suppose that's what God is calling you to do. That's one of the quotes she put in her own words. Be so confident in yourself and your abilities so that life makes way for you. Ignoring the master or spiritual intelligence, honoring the servant or intelligence. So each time we ignore the master and honor the servant, we do it at our own peril. Love it. Thanks for being a blessing. All right. So thank you, Sherrone Loban. Thank you so much for Sherrone is actually someone I know as well. And she sent this to Dr. Jaja, or my dear friend, and that's our community connection segment. Of course, we thank you, Sherrone, for sharing that with Dr. Jaja, and she in turn shared it with me. All right, so we want to get from our lovely friend here, Monique Helstrom, who is nothing but a ray of sunshine. Like, yeah, she's just so real and a ball of energy. I love that, it's the end of the workday almost, right? And here we are, bubbly, as we're recording. No, you may not be hearing this at the end of the day, but we're recording it at the end of the day, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So Monique, what's your final thoughts? Just wrap this conversation, just bring it home in light of your own empowerment mission, taking individuals from just encourage them on their journey, because sometimes there are persons who you encounter, they're already woke, as we say, but they need a little encouragement daily. Like I did mention about Zig Ziglar. Some people say that motivation doesn't last, etc., etc. So just share a little, take it home a little in light of what you do and, transforming our listeners today.
Sure. I'm actually going to reiterate something that the amazing Dr. Jaja said. One of the things that she said is, where you put your attention is what you see. And Simon used to say that same thing. If you go into a crowd of people and you think of the color red, you're going to see the color red. If you think of the color blue, you see the color blue. So we have control over what we're paying attention to. And I think my final statement for everyone is to take their power back. You do have control over what you say. You do have control over what your thoughts are. You do have control over how you feel every day. And it's about time we took that power back and we started feeling empowered with that, rather than feeling victimized by everything else that's going around us. So, choices.
Yeah, where your attention goes, that's where your energy is gonna flow. So right, like, yeah. All right, so how can our listeners get in touch with you, Monique?
It is not hard to find me. My name is Monique Helstrom, and everything I do is under my name, Monique Helstrom. My website, on my social. It's a friend of mine was like, "You're really not hard to find." I was like, I'm not. So hopefully no one's going to murder me, but everything is under my name, MoniqueHelstrom.com.
This conversation, Monique, has been so much fun. Thank you so much. Hang on a little bit, because we're getting into a next segment, which is called Trending Now. And Trending Now is brought to you also by 5 Minute Bookkeeper, in addition to Next Step Digital. And of course, if you need help with digital marketing, they are the solution, offering comprehensive services from social media marketing to SEO mastery, helping your business thrive online. Visit them at trynextstep.com or email service@trynextstep.com or call 876-570-1769 to learn more. And trending now is human development. The field of human development is evolving. According to Deloitte, companies investing in leadership development see a 25% increase in organizational performance. Monique Helstrom's work in this area is at the forefront of driving impactful business transformation. And that's what's trending now. And it is my duty right here to say thank you again to Monique Helstrom. Monique, you have been inspirational. You have been real and raw, and you've also been insightful. And for that, I love you. We love you. Thank you.
Too. I love you, and thank you for everything you're doing as well. You're an inspiration and a joy to listen to, really. And you brought wonderful things to us. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And to you, my amazing community. If you enjoyed the show, if you found value in it, don't keep it to yourself. As I always say, sharing is caring. Come on, share it, subscribe, leave a rate review on Apple Podcasts and review it in Spotify. Share it with your friends. While you wait for the next episode to arise, I want you to visit the website, HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. And right now, if you go there, you can get a free ebook. And that's going to teach you how to do podcast interviews like the pro that you already are, right? So go to HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. And if you want to give a review, a feedback, say something, reach out to me, whatever it is that you want to do, send me a message at HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. And I want you to affirm with me finally. I catalyze positive change, empowering individuals and organizations to achieve their full potential. So that is, if that's what you do, affirm it, affirm it, affirm it, affirm it. Until next time, take care of yourself.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.